The trophy is in the case. The medals are handed out. And by the official record, we already know who won this World Cup. It wasn't Messi. Rodri, a defensive midfielder from Manchester City, a player who didn't score a single goal or register a single assist across the entire tournament. That's the man FIFA handed the Golden Ball to, the award for the best player at the 2026 World Cup. And if that sentence doesn't sit right with you, if some part of you is already arguing back, saying, wait, but Messi, then good, because that argument is exactly what this video is about. Stick around, because by the end of this, you're going to have to decide for yourself who actually won this tournament. And I promise you, it's not as obvious as the trophy case makes it look. Let's start with the case for Rodri. Because the story here doesn't even start with this tournament. It starts with a comeback. A little over a year before this World Cup, Rodri was dealing with the aftermath of a serious knee injury.
Breaking news, and Manchester City have confirmed that Rodri has suffered ligament injury to his right knee.
Could you just tell us if there's any update on Rodri? And
ACL, so next season will be here. This season is over.
Grinding through a recovery that had genuine question marks attached to it. Was he going to get back to the level that won him the Ballon d'Or? There were setbacks along the way, long layoffs, a rough night at the Club World Cup where he had to be substituted early, and his manager admitted afterward that Rodri himself had asked to come off. That's not the resume of a player who walks into a World Cup as the obvious best player favorite. That's the resume of a player fighting to prove he still belonged at the top of the sport. And then the tournament started, and the numbers became almost absurd. Rodri didn't just have a good World Cup. He had the most statistically dominant midfield performance in the tournament's history. He completed 655 accurate passes across the competition, the most anyone has ever recorded at a single World Cup, beating his own previous record set back in 2022. He racked up 794 touches, more than any other player in the entire competition. 41 duels won, 34 possessions won, tackle count that put him among the tournament leaders in defensive actions. This isn't a player who had one big game. This is a player who was statistically the most involved, most controlling presence on a football pitch for 7 straight matches. At an age and off the back of an injury history that should have made this level of dominance impossible. And then came the final. Against Argentina, on the biggest stage in the sport, Rodri completed 101 out of 106 passes. That's 95.3% accuracy. In a World Cup final, under the kind of pressure that breaks lesser players, he won 80% of his ground duels in that match. He made 4 tackles. He was the reason Spain's backline barely had to work, because the ball simply didn't get past him often enough to matter. Spain's goalkeeper had almost nothing to do all night. And that's not an accident. That's a midfielder controlling an entire football match by himself. Here's the part that should really make you stop and think. Rodri did all of this without scoring a single goal. 0 goals, 0 assists across the entire tournament. And FIFA still looked at every attacker, every wonder kid, every world-class finisher in the competition, and decided the trophy belonged to the guy running the game from midfield. Now let's make the case for the other guy, because if you think Rodri's numbers are absurd, wait until you hear this. Lionel Messi walked into this World Cup at 39 years old, in what was almost certainly his final tournament, and the opening statement alone was ridiculous. 3 goals against Algeria in the group stage opener.
Back to Messi. Messi! A deflection! Got it home! That's Lionel Messi! He transcends time!
The first World Cup hat-trick of his entire career, at an age when most players have long since retired from international football entirely. He followed it up with both goals in a win over Austria, one of which made him the outright all-time leading World Cup goalscorer at that point in the tournament.
Crown it all himself. He has to. Oh, yes, there it is! There it is! In terms of scoring.
A goal against Jordan kept the run going.
Here it goes, there it is!
By the time the knockout stage arrived, he hadn't stopped scoring. He got one against Cape Verde in the round of 16.
Yeah. Messi's delivery is a good one, and it's a third. Messi, his control is brilliant. His finish is even better.
A goal and an assist against Egypt in the quarterfinal.
It's swept in, and of course it's in their favour, and they are back in the game. Argentina right back in it.
And then in the semi-final against England. With Argentina's entire tournament on the line, Messi delivered 2 assists in a single match to drag his team past one of the best sides in the competition, completing 9 dribbles in that game alone, the most by any player in a single match at this entire World Cup.
Messi. Oh, and England are in trouble. And maybe. Oh, this one's on target.
Add it up, and Messi scored in 8 consecutive World Cup matches. 8 straight. A scoring streak that had never been done before in the tournament's history. Not by Pele, not by Maradona, not by anyone in over 100 years of this competition existing. Completing 9 dribbles in that game alone. Zoom out even further, and the numbers get genuinely historic. Messi leaves this World Cup with 21 career goals and 12 career assists across 34 matches. The most career World Cup appearances of any player ever. 33 combined goal contributions in tournament history. Numbers that put him ahead of Mbappe, ahead of Pele, ahead of Maradona on every meaningful career leaderboard the World Cup has ever produced. He finished this tournament with the silver ball, runner-up for the Best Player award, at an age where most of his peers were commentating from a studio instead of playing in one. So here's your pattern interrupt, because this is where the story stops being about stats and starts being about what actually happened when these two players shared a pitch. The final, Spain versus Argentina. Rodri's tournament against Messi's tournament, decided in real time in front of the entire world. For most of the match, it was exactly the kind of chess game you'd expect between the tournament's 2 best players. Argentina tried to get Messi on the ball in space, the way they had all tournament, the same space that had produced a hat trick, a match-winning double, and a semi-final masterclass. And every time, Rodri was there first, not with a crunching tackle, with positioning, with anticipation, with the same quiet, unspectacular control of their entire tournament. Extra time arrived, the match still level, and Spain finally broke through. By the final whistle, Messi finished the match with 54 touches, a quiet night by his own standards, and 1 shot on goal, which didn't even hit the target. Argentina, as a team, failed to register a single shot on target in the entire final. Spain won 1-0 in extra time.
Porro, Williams, and thundering for Spain by Ferran Torres! At last! At long, long last! Spain's magic moment!
And the manner of that win told you everything about which version of dominance actually wins football matches. Not the 8-goal, highlight reel, headline-grabbing version. The one where a single midfielder quietly makes sure the other team's best player never gets a clean look at goal. That's not a coincidence. That's the entire argument for Rodri, playing out in real time on the sport's biggest stage against the best player of his generation. But here's the counter-argument, and it's a real one. Rodri's tournament happened in a Spain shirt that reached the final. Messi's tournament happened in an Argentina shirt that also reached the final. The same final, against the same opponent. And Messi got them there almost by himself, across 6 matches, before Spain's defense finally figured him out for 90 minutes. You don't get to a World Cup final at 39 years old, deep into a scoring streak nobody in history has ever matched, without being the single most important player on your team for 6 games running. So which matters more, being the best player for 90 minutes of the biggest match, or being the best player across an entire tournament, with one match where you finally ran into a wall? FIFA already gave you their answer. The Golden Ball has Rodri's name on it. The record books will say he was the best player at the 2026 World Cup, and by pure statistical dominance across 7 matches, it's genuinely hard to argue with that. But trophies aren't the only way history remembers players. History also remembers the hat trick against Algeria, the 2 assists that dragged Argentina past England, the scoring streak that no one in over 100 years of World Cup football had ever managed before. History remembers moments as much as it remembers medals. And Messi's tournament was absolutely stacked with moments, right up until the one match where Rodri made sure he didn't get another one. Think about how these two tournaments will actually be remembered 5, 10, 20 years from now. Rodri's will live in stat sheets and record books. The passing numbers, the golden ball, the quiet dominance that football purists will point to for decades as the platonic ideal of controlling a football match. Messi's will live in something different, in the feeling of watching a 39-year-old produce a scoring streak that had never existed before, in what was almost certainly the final chapter of the greatest World Cup career the sport has ever seen. One is a story told in numbers, the other is a story told in disbelief. So here's the open loop I planted back at the start, and I'm not going to close it for you. Rodri holds the trophy. Messi holds the moments. One of them controlled an entire World Cup from midfield without ever touching the score sheet. The other one scored and created more than almost anyone in the tournament's history at an age when he should have been finished years ago. Who actually won this World Cup? Drop your answer below, because I promise you, this is one debate that isn't ending with a trophy ceremony.